Hey everybody, Dr. Dan here, and I just want to talk briefly about Chapter 2, give you a quick introduction. It's an important chapter, and there's some key takeaways. So, again, don't worry about too many of the details here. Take a look at my notes, my reading notes, and it will tell you what's really important to know. Maybe scribble down some annotations or some notes as you read, and it'll help you out. So it's all about the Hebrews, right? So it's really about Judaism, this beginning of Jewish culture. And the reason it's really important is, there's a lot of foundations for Western thought that come out of the Hebrews, especially when we consider religion. So, and we consider Christianity, which is a big part of Western civilization. So we need to understand sort of the basis for that. So the big takeaways, first of all, you'll read about Hebrews and a nomadic tribe at one point, and but then begin to settle down and build this great civilization, and Solomon had built this royal palace in Jerusalem, way back, obviously before Christ. So when you read about Israel today and Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and these holy cities, you can understand that why Jerusalem is so important to Jewish culture, because it's like ancient. It's the foundation of settlement and the first palace, based on how they manifested or perceived religious thought. And so the big thing there is this shift from polytheism to monotheism. So poly obviously means a lot, and mono means one. So the big thing about Judaism and Hebrew religion is this idea that they believed in one God, as opposed to polytheist, where there were a lot of gods. And so we're going to read about this in different chapters moving forward, this difference in how many gods there are. And so when we're looking at a basis for Christianity, certainly it's a monotheistic religion. So this really is different than the Near Eastern gods that come before the Hebrews. And the other part of the Hebrews, they regarded God as fully sovereign and really was transcendent at the same time. So God was even above nature, whereas you look at some of the religions prior to this time, the Near East religions saw God in nature. So the sun, there might be a sun god, for example. So that's another thing that's important about Judaism and Hebrew culture to take away as you read chapter 2. So the other cool thing is this idea of moral freedom, but also that humans are responsible for their own actions. So that's sort of a core of Western thought, this idea that you need to act in a certain way under certain rules, because you're responsible for your own actions. There's no myth making or mysticism in this philosophy. So that comes out of that early Hebrew culture as well. Notice also, and this is something I'll be talking about a lot, so we talk about gender roles, how women are treated, in our culture. And again, read about, and I think it's on page 30, how the Jews constructed gender roles, and how that has really transcended all the way through Western civilization to today. So obviously men and women aren't equal in these early social constructions with the Hebrews, and so that's something to make note of. It's something I find interesting, because again, I'm trying to make these connections between past and present, and you sort of wonder, why did inequality between the sexes, how long has that been around? And the answer is it's been around forever. Okay, and that's kind of why it's so hard to get rid of, is because it's so far ingrained, and that's certainly the case with gender. Now, social constructions based on race are actually newer than that, and we'll talk about that later. But gender is a big deal here, so make sure you understand that idea of women maybe being less important or treated differently has been around for a long time, and that's why it's hard to get rid of. It's so ingrained in society. So think about that. it's also interesting. Think about these words. So parochialism versus universalism, and there's a definition in there somewhere. I think page 30, page 31. Understand what those are. So parochial really means favoring one group or just considering one group, where universalism considers everybody. So it might be a religion, but it also might be a social class. So it's parochial to only consider the rich or to only take care of the rich or the middle class, but it's universalism that considers that there is value in taking care of the poor and in taking care of the downtrodden. So again, that comes out of Hebrew culture, this idea of universalism, and it's really important because that is a thread through Judaism, through Christianity, and just through humanism in Western thought today. So that's another biggie. Also understand the most important takeaway I would say from this chapter is that Christianity is going to emerge from Judaism. So that's really important to know, and so this is important not only because Christianity is such a big deal in Western civilization, but also the Hebrew vision of the future informs Western culture. This idea that if you do good works and if you act a certain way, there's a better future ahead. In other words, that humans can dictate and sort of mold how society goes, and that we can make life better. We can make society better through moral actions, and we can improve society through laws and through helping others. So again, that's a huge takeaway here. The basis for Christianity, the idea of universalism, and this idea that there's hope for the future because through good works we can improve society. So that's chapter 2 in a nutshell. There'll be an assignment in here that you'll have to do as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. Have a great day and a safe week. Bye-bye.